All right, what's up, Dragon Brood? Today we have day 5 of previews for Avatar because technically there was nothing over the weekend. I'm not sure why WotC does that. It's just a thing that happens during preview season. Anyway, let's get in and see some of the interesting cards we have to talk about today. We're going to start with Gather the White Lotus. It's a 4 and a white, so 5 mana for sorcery. Create a 1/1 ally creature token for each planes you control, and then you scry 2. I mean, it doesn't say each basic planes, so there's something to be said about that, right? If it's not just basics, then that counts anything that has the planes, land type on it, which is great, so you can get a lot of value out of it. But 5 mana is also a lot, so can this be played? I don't know. I mean, if you have stuff that cares about when an ally enters, this could be great, right? Because then you're getting maybe 4 or 5 triggers off of this, which could be fantastic. We also don't know if when you're playing allies, you're going to be wanting to play just a bunch of planes, because there's other colors that have allies that you might want to play. But also remember, we do have the shock lands that happen to have both land types. So it is possible you could still have your basic planes and then up to probably like 12 shock lands, which also count as planes. So I don't know. This one I'm going to be lukewarm on until we figure out a deck it actually goes in. Right? This one goes by Ember Island Performance. It's 3 blue. It's a sorcery. Choose one. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it's a 4/4 hero in addition to its other types and it's not legendary. Or create a token that's a copy of target creature an opponent controls, except it's a 2/2 coward in addition to its other types and it's not legendary. I don't know. Like, it's hard to be super excited about clone effects. I feel like we have even several now we don't play with. This one being nice to let you copy either one of your things or one of your opponent's things is pretty sweet. And you can get a larger version of, say, a smaller creature if that's what you want to copy. So, I mean, it has uses, but I'm not really excited about it, unfortunately. Callous Inspector. This is a 1 black mana, so a 1 mana 1/1 with menace. It's a human soldier. When this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to you. Create a clue token. All right. I mean, if you just have something that's being aggressive and cares about clues, this is the card you want. Otherwise, you're probably not going to care about it that much. Sold Out. This is just a great name for a card, honestly. 3 and a black. Exile. It's an instant. Exile target creature. If it was dealt damage this turn, create a clue token. So, all right. So we're in a world where obviously we want to have a bunch of stuff that wants you to have clues or artifacts entering the battlefield or whatever the case is. So that's good. But man, 4 mana to exile a creature, and if it was dealt damage, I mean, I could see if I'm playing a mid-rangey or control deck with black, I could play a couple of these because it does just exile the creature. Which one? I think we have too much exile removal right now, but that's fine. The bonus part, because I'm kind of wondering, like, why would I not just remove the thing outright instead of having something of mine hit it or whatever? So it's a common, so you can't ask for too much. Firebender Ascension, 1 and a red. So a 2 mana enchantment. When this enchantment enters, create a 2/2 red social creature token with Firebending 1. Whenever a creature you control attacks, causing a triggered ability of that creature to trigger, put a quest counter on this enchantment. If this has 4 or more counters on it, you may copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. So whenever a creature you control attacking causes a triggered ability of that creature to trigger. So I think the wording there is just to make sure that when your creature attacks, it has to trigger its own ability. Not, hey, I'm attacking, but the doll maker shop makes a 1/1, right? Like, that wouldn't trigger this. But in this case, whenever a creature you control is attacking, causes a triggered ability of that creature to trigger, put a quest counter on this. And then if it has 4 more copies, you choose new targets for a copy. I mean, this is pretty good. Because think about this, right? We've seen so many things that are 1, 2, and 3 mana that just have firebending themselves. So it's possible you just play this, and then within 1 turn of casting it, you're going to have 4 counters on it. And then you just get to get all the extra mana or whatever. So this could show up somewhere. It's a little quirky. You do get a 2/2 soldier out of it, if nothing else. So you're paying a 2 mana 2/2 with a huge upside on this. This card might be legit, y'all. A Tiger-Dillo, a cat armadillo for 2 mana. It's a 4/3. It can't attack or block unless you control another creature with power 4 or greater. Okay. I mean, this is a little bit of a weird space, right? Because one of them can empower the other one. There's also cards like that 4/1 black creature that has menace, and when it attacks, does it put a +1/+1 on something, right? So you could have other quality things for 2 and 3 mana that have 4 power. Would we play with this? I mean, you're risking a lot against the aggro decks where they can kill your other creature, then you just can't block, and that kind of sucks. So, probably not going to be excited about this. Reasonable that I would play it in limited, but for 60 card, I'd have to have a very specific deck for this. Twin Blades, 2 and a red. It's an artifact equipment. It has flash. When it enters, attach it to target creature you control. That creature gains double strike till end of turn. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, and you can equip this for just 2. Wow. Well, now we're talking about an equipment here, folks. Now, 3 mana is not cheap necessarily in some of the aggro decks, but the wrong creature gets through because your opponent doesn't want to chump block it or whatever or lose their thing, and you're like, all right, flash this in. It's also a +1 and gets double strike. Like, this is going to make combat math very scary. Like, this is a cool piece of equipment. And even if the creature dies that it's on for whatever reason, the equip cost is only 2. Like, this is in the sweet spot for what you want to do with equipment. Shared Roots, 1 and a green. It's a lesson. Search your library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Okay, so this is just, a rampant growth, basically, that happens to be a lesson? Seems really good, actually. A Platypus-Bear, 1 and split mana blue-green for a 2/3 Platypus-Bear Defender. When this creature enters, mill 2 cards. As long as there is a lesson card in your graveyard, this creature can attack as though it didn't have Defender. I mean, this is a common, so you can't expect a lot. A 2 mana 2/3 is okay. If you're playing a bunch of lessons, you'll probably be able to attack with this. If you're doing self-mill stuff, maybe this could have a home. It does give you the option to be played in either blue or green deck, which is nice. So this could be a weird little utility card that shows up in a couple of lists, but I wouldn't be expecting it. Tolls of War. It's black-white enchantment, so 2 mana. When this enchantment enters, create a clue token. Another thing that makes clues, in black no less. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent during your turn, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Now see, this makes all that, the clues and the food and everything else, a little more interesting here. Because now you can say, okay, I'm going to pay 2 mana, do my thing, whether it's draw or gain life or whatever, make a 1/1. But you can also do it on your opponent's turn, because it just says once each turn. Oh, it's whenever you sacrifice a permanent during your turn. So never mind. You can't do it on your opponent's turn. So it does have a limitation to it here, which that changes things. But honestly, being able to get a free 1/1, not free, but a bonus 1/1, we'll call it, while you're doing the other things, it's still probably okay. And it also doesn't say how you have to sacrifice the permanent. So if you have a creature that just says sacrifice this, do a thing, sacrifice an artifact, do a thing, that also works for this. So yeah, this will probably find a home somewhere. For what it's worth, I just should note that we got a full set of tap lands. They all have 4 tap, sacrifice this land, draw a card. So not bad for limited play. It's just a late game card that can let you draw when you don't need the mana anymore, which is cool. But real talk, these probably don't show up in decks except for maybe some of the control decks. The blue blacks, the white blue, white black. Like those might show up in some of the control decks just because getting a card is always good for them later in the game. But that's probably the only place. For anything aggro or mid-rangey, you're probably not playing these. We got another card for my Scornful Striker. 1 and a black for a 2/2 human noble ally with first strike. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, they lose 2 life. Ooh, mine's really good. This is cool. So 1, it's a human. Might matter. Obviously legendary. It's an ally. Though most of the allies I think we've seen have been in like white, green, and red, maybe? Blue? I don't know, but not too many in black. So maybe this can be played with those or not. But first strike's really cool, and then whenever player casts a non-creature spell, they lose life. So if you're playing an aggressive deck that just happens to play black, you might just play a couple of these. It's a reasonable creature, and the upside is, you know, every time your opponent counters a spell, lose life. Every time they kill something, lose 2 life. And that's kind of what your deck wants to be doing anyway, right? If a creature gets killed, but still deals 2 before it even gets to attack, like, it still kind of did its job, at least for a turn. So, yeah, I could be into this. This card's kind of sweet. Elemental Teachings, 4 and a green, so a 5 mana instant lesson. Search your library for up to 4 land cards with different names and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards. Put the chosen cards into your graveyard and the rest onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle. Oh, so this is like, well, we've had a bunch of cards. I was going to name stuff, but, you know, the Factor Fictions, blah, blah, whatever. But you pay 5 mana. You go get 4 lands that have different names, and your opponent says, all right, 2 go in the graveyard, 2 go into play. I don't know how good this is, but this can't be bad. And even for a commander, if you just want to ramp up and, I mean, you always have a bunch of utility lands, so your opponent gets to pick. Yeah, there has to be a use for it. Even as a 1 or 2 of in some lists, this has to come up somewhere. So yeah, I would expect this to see some amount of play, especially in decks that care about landfall, that want to play the long game or whatever. Like, these are pretty useful. They do enter tapped, so there is that. But yeah, still a pretty strong card. The Earth Kingdom General, 3 and a green for a 2/2 human soldier ally. See, when I see a 4 mana 2/2, before I even read the ability, I'm like, this better be good. Granted, it's an uncommon, so I'm not expecting a lot. When this creature enters Earthbend 2, fair enough. Your land becomes a creature and gets 2 +1/+1 counters. Whenever you put 1 or more +1/+1 counters on a creature, you may gain that much life. Do this only once each turn. Okay, so while it is an uncommon, it actually has a lot going for it. So you pay 4 mana. You get a 2/2. You get a land that turns into a 2/2. And if that land dies, it just returns to the battlefield tap. So no risk. So you basically get 4 power, 4 toughness for 4 mana. But you also get 2 life because you put 2 counters on the land. Now, one of the things I'll note here is while it does put counters on the land, this says whenever you put 1 or more counters on a creature you control. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a land that those counters go on for you to gain life. This is actually a really big card for +1/+1 counter decks, whether you're talking about 60 card stuff or even in Commander, just gaining all that extra life. This is kind of a sweet card, and obviously works well in any type of earthbending deck because you're going to be just putting counters on your lands and gaining extra life along the way, while also growing your creatures, which is good. So yeah, kind of a sweet card for an uncommon. 4 is still a little pricey, but you are getting a lot for 4 mana. I mean, it's possible you play, say, like your 4 Ouroboros, because you're going to play that in a deck that does +1/+1 counters or earthbends or whatever. But then you also could play like 2 of these alongside it, and those could be your 4 drops. Beifong's Bounty Hunters, 2 black, green, so 4 mana for a 4/4 human mercenary. Whenever a non-land creature you control dies, earthbend X, where X is that creature's power. Ooh, now this is fun. So a 4 mana 4/4, fine. But let's say you have a 3/3 die. You're a Surrak 4/3 dude, right? Your opponent kills it. Then you get to take 3 +1/+1 counters, because that was the creature's cost. And then you just put that on a land. This is, oh, actually, this is a great card against sweepers. Right? Because let's say you played a Llanowar Elf, something else on 2, you play this on turn 3, right? So you have 3 creatures, your opponent takes their turn, they decide to, I don't know, Day of Judgment. Well, then you get, I'm assuming, 1, 3, and 4 that you could just put on either different lands or on just one land. So you could have a big, 8/8? Or you could have a 1/1, a 3/3, and a 4/4 all getting to attack next turn. This is a kind of powerful card, actually. Or even in creature battles, right? I'm just thinking, you just block, and then your creature dies, and you're like, great, I'm going to convert a land into a 4/4 or whatever. It didn't even say when another one. It just says whenever a non-land creature you control dies. Yeah, like, this card's good, right? I can't imagine this is bad. Yeah, I think today we might have seen 2 of the best creatures so far. And they're really good. Earthbending definitely got a boost today, which is cool. But yeah, y'all let me know if what y'all like today, because there's a variety of things that were happening. But as always, don't forget, hit the like, subscribe, do all the things, all that, so you don't miss the other previews. And we'll have some fun decks we're going to talk about leading up to the early access event next week. But that's all I have you for now. We'll see you next time.